How you doing, everybody? My name is Octavius Levon Blount. I'm the coordinator for the Mayor's Office of Black Male Engagement, and we're here with another Spotlight series, but today we have a special guest. We're kind of collaborating with Women's History Month and also to show support to women, our black women specifically. I have a special guest that is dear and near to my heart. She'll talk a little bit about what she does, how she impacts black men and also black women in the city, and also what she does, and also how does she, what kind of advice can she give black men to support our women and also to young women as well. So Dr. Loury, how you doing?
How are you, Octavius? How you been?
I'm good. I'm good. We haven't talked in a while, but I'm glad that you're here. If you could talk a little bit about who you are without the hat that you wear. I know a big hat that you have. You know, if somebody just said, who is Dr. Loury?
Well, they would probably say she's the crazy black woman that runs around Arcadia University.
Mm-hmm.
They would start with that, but it's a good crazy.
Okay.
I've been at Arcadia now for, oh my goodness, 28 years.
Okay.
The lie I tell, I started when I was 12. Okay.
Okay.
All
Okay.
right. But I've been at Arcadia now for 28 years. I came there to run an EOP program called Act 101.
Okay.
Education Opportunity Program, which is a phenomenal program, still underway in Philadelphia, throughout Pennsylvania. What it does is provide access to college for students who may not have the grades or the SAT scores, but we know they have the potential and the motivation. So I actually came there and they handed me the grant.
Yeah.
No program, nothing, and said, hey, go for it. I said, well, there's a little give and take here. I'm willing to do this, but I had just started my PhD program at Temple in African American Studies.
Okay.
Brand new PhD student, like a little born again Christian, okay? I was like, I'm ready to tell the world all about African American studies. And I said, I want to develop and teach African American study courses. It was a perfect marriage. So I did that for probably 10 years, ran the program, also did the courses.
Okay.
Finally, age kicked me, and I said, this is too much light work. I got the PhD, sat down with Arcadia, and they made me an offer I couldn't refuse. They, in essence, said, go to the Department of Sociology, start African American Studies, go for it. And I didn't have to do the administrative part of the EOP program. So, became a professor in the Department of Sociology, Anthropology, Criminal Justice. Shout out to everybody there.
Yep.
And then said, I really want to do a minor in Pan-African Studies.
Yep.
That took a minute, but that was okay. And with the help of Kalinda Eaton, Dr. Eaton, Alex Otiano, and so many other people, we have a minor now in African American, Pan-African Studies at Arcadia University. And it's been phenomenal. I've had probably over 15 young people graduate from that minor within the last, we've only been around, I think, 4 years, you know, so it's really been a pleasure, and I feel like it's a legacy that I'm leaving. And I'm big on legacies, which we'll talk about later. So that was something I was able to do with the support of Arcadia University, and it's near and dear to my heart.
Okay. I know you. I'm a graduate of Arcadia
Yes, you
University. And I'm also glad that you were at the school when I got there in the summer.
Yes.
I was in the Act 101 program. And you kind of, I was bio pre-PT, but you kind of talked to me about, you know, I'm going to pull you where you're supposed to be at. So you pulled me into the sociology department, which helped me understand who I am, that I like to write, that I am a writer, and also that I like writing about black men and also the advancement of black men.
Yes.
And also, this position that I'm in right now, you supported me well with this position. So I want to thank you, so I won't forget.
No problem.
But with Arcadia, I know you said you're the director of Pan-African Studies at Arcadia. How do you think you represent black women in that department? Because I know it's just you.
Well, right now, it's me. I was smart enough to understand that I'm at a small institution. It's a predominantly white institution. So what I did was gather the support of other departments who had like-minded courses.
Okay.
All right, and that's why it's called a multidisciplinary. Because if you really understand anything dealing with African American studies, Pan-African studies, Africana studies, whatever you want to call it, you want to reach across the different disciplines so people will see the worth and the scholarship that's been hidden, not shown to us in the English department, the history department.
Yeah.
Even I have political science. So I have a wonderful smattering of courses that are probably over, oh my goodness, probably over 20 courses that span the different curriculums at Arcadia. And that's important. That's important. I was able to sit down and talk to the history department, say, all right, you're already teaching a course called Africa, 1850 to whatever. Let's have that be one of the 5 or 6 courses my students take to walk away with the minor, in Pan-African Studies.
Okay.
And I have an intro course that I developed that everybody, if you want to walk out of there, you got to take the intro course.
Yeah.
So there is a prerequisite that is the Pan-African, intro to Pan-African Studies, but they really get a chance to take great stuff in English and other places. And I'm really big on people understanding the integration, that it's not a separation. It really isn't. That if you do history right, now if you do it right, now let's be real about this. Now if you want to make it secret, then you don't put stuff in there. But if you really want to show all sides, and that has not to just do with race, women, gender, then you show it. You be really, that word inclusive is a joke many times, because inclusive just usually means February 1st to the 28th, we'll bring out the same group of black folks, make sure we talk about, Martin Luther King and Rosa Parks, and then students think that's the only part of African American history that they know about. But then when I say, well, how about science? Well, what do you mean? What about political science? What about social work? So you have to really show all that if you want to be inclusive, tell the whole story, not just part of it.
Okay. Now, I know you talked about, I know you're part of the founder of the Black Male Development Symposium. How do you think that being a woman in this specific position and then looking at black men saying we need to help them, how do you think that that representation that you have, that also creates a sense of the reason why, your purpose why to start the Black Male Development Symposium as a woman, and not have, a black man, oh, I'm almighty, I can do it. But you got a woman, a very phenomenal woman, that's the leader of a Black Male Development Symposium. Like, what was your purpose to create that?
It was never for me to lead it. Okay? That was never the deal.
Yeah.
Wonderful young man by the name of Patrick Oliver.
Yes.
And another wonderful man named Hakeem Matabuti. All righty. They were already doing this in several cities. I get a call one evening because Patrick and I are friends.
Okay.
They want me to come and do a couple of workshops because my doctorate was on African American single fathers.
Okay.
Okay, so they were like, hey, we're doing this wonderful thing called Black Male Symposium. We really need someone to come and talk about fathers, and you've done this research. I asked a real dumb question.
Okay.
I said, this thing sounds phenomenal. You're doing it in Michigan, Ohio, boom, boom, boom. I said, who's doing it in Philadelphia? And they both laughed and said, nobody. But Patrick said, oh, you are. I said, oh, no. Have no time, enjoying my life, blah, blah, blah. So as we're getting my travel plans ready, I was also on the planning committee for the Pennsylvania Black Conference on Higher Ed.
Okay.
And sitting at the table with them planning, they said, well, we don't have a community project to do. We need to do a community project. And I'm sitting there going, you're getting ready to get yourself in trouble. I mentioned it to him. I said, well, I may be able to, one, get Hakeem Matabuti here, and I may have a community project if I can do it at Arcadia.
Okay.
So they called me back, and I said, all right, guys, I don't know, I'm going to try to do this. Don't know if it's going to work, but I'm going to try. Had good people like Donna Frisbee, Greenwood, and I called because she was running Gear Up for the school district.
Okay.
So I got on the phone and said, all right, we get 200 or 300 kids here. This will be great. All right. Let's throw some workshops together. I called my friends. I called a meeting and had like 45 people there. And what let me back up. What my whole plan was to do was a professional development workshops on how to work with African American youth, right?
Okay.
That was the beginning of it. Bilal Qayyum stood up and said, what you gonna do about the kids? And some of us looked at each other and said, we ain't trying to do nothing with no kids. We just trying to do this professional development, all right? Bottom line, it turned into
Yeah.
a youth, intergenerational, which I think is, we're still one of the few, if only, doing that nationally.
Yeah.
Now, I was expecting 300 kids, 300 people. We were like, we had food for 300, classrooms to do, workshops, all set up.
Yeah.
I'll never forget that day. I'm standing on Church Road talking to someone about, we get ready, people get ready to come. And I look up and I said, what are all those buses, from those yellow buses coming down the road from Limekiln Pike? And they turned, and Gear Up turned out, came in. And we all looked at each other and I said, order pizza, call security to open up some more rooms.
Yep.
And I started pointing to my other friends and said, you're running a workshop. I don't care what you do it. Go in and do it. We had 700 people. And the young woman that started it with me, Aisha.
Yep.
Aisha, because Aisha and me, we were like, looked at each other because this was not what we thought. And I remember walking around campus after lunch. People just didn't know what was going on, behind closed doors. Literally open up classrooms and the whole thing. And I had this young man walking, a group of these beautiful young black men walking past me, and I said, how was your day today? And they turned and looked at me and said, this was one of the best days of my life. And I sat there and looked at my crew and said, I think we may have something.
Yep.
That's how it started.
Okay.
And again, the intention was, okay, brothers,
Yeah.
y'all got this. I'm your grunt. Let me get to space. Let me write grants. It just didn't work out that way. It was a group that stayed together.
Yeah.
Kevin Covington, myself, Laura Reddick, new people. My daughter. Michelle. I have to say my child because she said her husband, my husband at that time. At that time, Big Mike. Friends stuck with me. And David Poindexter, I could keep going on. I know I'm forgetting somebody. But new people came in to help us. I think people kind of said, this is your baby. And we're going to always be there to support you. Tom Butler, was one of my early people. But I couldn't get anybody, and maybe it's because of Arcadia. Because Arcadia is so supportive. When I tell people that we do that conference on that campus, and they charge me nothing. I have to get food and all that. Brown ShopRite, God bless them, okay, gave me, So I've always had that great support. Campaign for Black Male Achievement, and Sean Dove gave us some of our first money. William Penn gave us our first money. So it ended up being, Doreen is your baby.
Yep.
Doreen's tired. We're going to do it in 2020 at Arcadia. Then there's going to have to be a discussion.
Yeah.
Because Doreen is really kind of ready to, not to fade into the sunset, but really wants to take on another role. I'm going to look at you, young brothers like you, Kevin Covington, and Kevin's stepping to the plate so that it can carry on. It does not need to be one person, and it's not really one person, but I'm ready to really step out of this, executive director role. I've always can be the founder. Yes, that's what I did. But we need some fresh blood in there to do the everyday stuff.
Okay.
And I'm ready to hand over the reins. I know y'all don't think so, but I really am.
I know that.
Okay.
I know that. Because I know when you say things, you mean it.
Yeah.
And when you say things and you have an idea, you're going to do it. So I believe you on that notion, and I'm going to support it like I've been doing.
Yeah.
So when I say everything happens for a reason, it does. This was your baby for a reason. You were the face of it for a reason, because now we look to you to ask questions, and also to say how to lead, how to create, how to empower young black men.
Yes.
And you may not have all the answers, but you know people that can give us the answers.
Yes.
Even though, like I just said, everything happens for a reason. With this trajectory of black women in power, how does that ignite you, the fire inside of you to, do the work that you do for young black women? Does that ignite you to say, I want to do my own thing. I want to be a better Dr. Loury in this next life that I'm going to have. If you can answer that, that'd be great.
Well, what's really interesting is I started out doing the girls.
Okay.
And that's only a few people know that, who
Okay.
Aisha was one of them. We started out doing girls.
Okay.
That was our deal, all right? And the other one just happened by pure happenstance. And I've literally had to put the girls on the back burner. I'm ready to get back with working with girls, but more so I am really, really interested in working with women vets.
Okay.
I'm a vet.
Okay.
Okay, I'm a Marine Corps vet. And I am so interested in going back to doing workshops to empower women, to help them see who they are, to help them see that they can be better than anyone ever told them that they could be.
Yeah.
And at the same time, in my mind's eye, this enhances relationships. See, I don't believe in this whole separate piece. If you
Yeah.
really from an African point of view,
Yeah.
yin and yang go together, okay? So I'm all about making sure that we as black men and black women can look at each other with love
Yep.
and respect. So I'm seeing some things that are happening with my younger women. I'm seeing some things happening with older women who are going through trauma.
Yeah.
I mean, I already know black men and trauma. I
Yeah.
get that. I know I can't save the world. Okay, I know I can't save the world. But I really think I want to start doing this. You know, this last season. I don't know, last season of my life. I don't even like saying that. But doing this, you know,
Yeah.
this transition that I'm getting ready to go through in life, which
Yeah.
is actually so much fun. I really want to put some energy back into working with women. I love it.
Okay.
There's a whole energy that's very different with
Yeah.
women. We can sit and talk and close the door, and we all have the same song, women.
Okay.
And it's just done a little differently. I'm 71. I can talk to sisters who are 31, and we go, oh my goodness, that happened to me.
Okay.
I'm working on this job. I walk into the room and there's all white men, and I get mansplained to, and I have to constantly say, "No, I'm sorry. I already thought of that. You know,
Yeah.
I've said that 2 minutes ago. So I'm glad that you're backing me up." Teaching them how to do that,
Okay.
and how to not be afraid to sit somewhere and be the only one, and in fact understand that being the only one, you're probably the brightest bulb in there. And being able to turn on that bulb and let people see you shine, and let them know that you're not going to be dulled by anything that they're doing. You're there to help, to work, and to lead many times.
Yeah.
So that's what I really want to start putting my energy into. And it's going to help black men
Oh, yeah.
and black women.
Yeah. I understand what you're saying. And I like the fact that because a lot of people say, you know, we separate each other, we don't love each other, we don't like each other, we don't want to be a part of that relationship or that black love, quote unquote.
Black
But
love is the best thing in the world. Are you kidding?
I got mine.
All right. And I had mine for 32 years.
Okay.
Okay. And walking into some, you know, other things now, you know,
Yeah.
but black, I mean, I'd had parents who were married, you know, over 50 something years.
Okay.
So I grew up understanding that how a man respected a woman, how a woman respected a man.
Yeah.
But my mother also, 7th grade education, taught me how to have independence. Understand who you are, Doreen.
Yeah.
And my dad did the same thing to me.
Okay.
So I had both of those energies put into me, which is probably why I went to the Marine Corps, probably why I became an activist, because I had both of my ears had both parents talking to me and giving me their male energy and their female energy,
Just
and I had
pointing,
to figure out a way to just roll it around and lean one way one time and lean another way another time, you know.
Okay.
So black love is a good thing.
Oh yeah. So when you just talked about turning on your light and letting your light shine in the room, Shirley Chisholm said, if they don't allow you at the table, bring a folding chair. And I know that's some advice that a lot of women give young women. So what's a piece of advice that you would give young women and middle-aged women and older women to navigate this world that we live in? And then the second question will be, how would young black men, middle-aged men, and older men support them in shining their light?
That's a lot.
I know.
So everybody needs to bring a folding chair into the
Yeah.
room. Black men and white men, black men and black women. I really think, and I know my millenniums are going to get on me, okay? People don't want to do homework anymore.
Okay.
And when I say homework, I don't go into anything without, and I know y'all also, I Google, I mean, I'm with y'all now with Google. I don't go anywhere or into anything without knowing what I'm going to, where I'm going, and what's going on.
Yep.
I need to know the history of what's happened. I need to know the good, the bad, and the ugly. I need to know who the players are.
Yeah.
And I need to know the history of those players. To be able to sit next to someone in a boardroom and to know that they have never done anything for women's rights. And I'm sitting there now to try to talk about women's rights.
Yeah.
I've got to figure out another way. Now, I had that happen. Found out the person was military. What did I sit there and talk about? I talked about the military. You were in the Marine Corps?
Yeah.
Yes, I was also an officer in the Air Force. Oh, so then when they started seeing the fact that here I am as a female and now talking about women's rights, it gave another avenue. But I did my homework and I made sure I sat next to that person.
Yeah.
Because I knew they were going to be our biggest obstacle.
Okay.
Okay? So homework is so important, and people don't want to do it anymore. You know, no, if you don't know, there's an African proverb that talks about you are supposed to have dinner with the enemy because you don't want to end up being their dessert. Okay?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. So
Yeah.
if you know, if you're sitting with the enemy, what the agenda is, you can handle the situation.
Oh, yeah.
So I say that to everybody. I say it to my students. So that's one thing. And I think the support is a dual support.
Okay.
No one wants to think they're not getting support, but at the same time, people want to understand that the support I'm giving you is from my heart.
Okay.
Don't have any kind of ulterior motive. I'm coming to you with my hand. You know, I tell people I'm never somewhere like this. I'm always showing you my hands are open and up.
Yeah.
So I'm receiving. I'm receiving your information. I'm receiving you until you show me something else. Like Maya Angelou told us.
Yeah.
And sometimes people will show you, and I am okay now with going. I need to walk away from this.
Yeah.
There was a time I didn't when I was younger. Now, because I'm gonna make sure I know. Now I go. Let me move on and see what else I can do.
Yeah.
So I think there has to be this mutual wanting
Okay.
to give support to one another.
Okay.
That is not on a surface level. A lot of times it's on a surface level, and people don't understand deep structure, going deep, and even in relationships. All righty. When I asked my husband, did this dress make me look too fat? He would tell me, yes, it does.
Honesty.
And I would go back in and say, well, I don't mind looking fat today, but thank you for your information. Okay.
I like that.
All right. So
Being
again, it has to be being willing to accept and being willing to give. All right. And knowing each other. And that takes more than 3 months, which I tell young people. Get to know somebody.
Yeah.
Get to know. See how they treat other women. If they have their mother still living or female relatives, I tell young sisters all the time, watch how he treats his mother, his sisters. Does he get out of the car? You don't have to open the car up for me, but stand and wait for me. I had a young sister tell me the other day, met a nice guy, they went to the gym, came back home, came back to the parking lot, and he said, well, I had a good time, and he walked to his car and didn't walk her to a car. And we were like, well, no, and I know women want to be feminists and all this, and I am very much a feminist. I have no problem with a man being courteous because I'm going to be courteous to him.
Okay.
So it's a two-way street. We got to get out of these one-way lanes and understand that, hey, we're only going to make this if we can make this together. And especially African Americans, all right? We have to really understand that this is us.
Yeah.
And again, we can't get caught up in all of that separation because it's not going to help us. It's not going to help us. In the end, it's not going to help us. We traveling this road together. We better hold hands, hold shoulders, sing together, pray together, so that we can get down, from the Wizard of Oz, move on down the road.
Yep.
We got to move on down the yellow brick road.
Okay. Now I like the fact that you brought it back home because towards the end of this discussion that we'll have, I like that you brought up the support, and it's just not me or black men just, okay, how can we support you? Keep asking questions, but it's always a two-way street. And I like that you said you keep your hands open to receive and also to provide.
Pride,
because that's what we have to do for one another. And also, sometimes it can also be people that don't look like us that also want to receive
That's
information,
right.
and we
That's
can also
right.
provide information.
Exactly.
So I remember the event that we had at Arcadia. It was called Building Fences, and it was, certain things that can be stopped
Yeah.
from coming in. Certain things will open up. Certain things will keep in.
That's it.
Because if you understand who you are, understand where you're going, what you want to do, nobody can stop you.
Nobody can stop it.
So I
Can't
want
give you the king. What did you all back in the day? They can't give you any trickology.
Oh yeah.
No. Because you sit there and go, I don't think so. That's what I
Yeah.
tell my grandchildren. I said, you know very quickly, and we all have very good instincts. And I tell my students, you heard me in class.
Yeah.
I say, if the hair on the back of my neck starts to come up,
Yeah.
I go,
Yep.
My grandma said, she was worried about us all getting education, but she said, don't educate yourself out of your true self.
Okay.
Okay.
I like
And
that.
okay,
I like that.
and every time we got a degree, it was like, don't educate yourself. And I remember that, So when my intuition tells me, Doreen, this is not going to go the way you even think it's going to go, how much energy are you willing to put in it now? And I think all of us have to do that because we're so concerned with everything. Social media has inundated us to a point you have no time to yourself. And I tell everybody, put that stuff down if it's only an hour evening. I don't mess with it on Sundays. Okay,
True.
not for the Lord, but for Doreen.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
But even answering the phone sometimes, people know you can't get her until after a certain, because it's overload.
Yeah.
I need to be able to walk outside, look at some trees, hear a couple of birds chirping,
Walk around and not be bogged down.
not to
about
be
some
bogged
things.
down, just go somewhere and just chill out, just chill. Even if it's in my front room, just chill out, read a book, go to a movie, okay,
by
go
yourself.
to a movie by myself. And my friends always say, you go by yourself, and say, then I go have dinner.
Yep.
And I'm a happy camper.
Yep.
I like me.
Okay.
Okay, I like
Yeah.
me. And if you don't like your own company,
Yeah. I hear you.
okay.
I hear you.
So the people got to learn how to like their own company as well too.
Okay. So I want to thank you for coming in.
My pleasure.
I'm going to say it. I love you,
I love you too.
and I'm glad that hopefully we can keep creating this needle that needs to be moved.
Yes.
And also transforming this narrative for Black men.
Yes, and remember that we're in this together. That's
Yeah.
the bottom line. Thank you so much.
Thank
and it's
you.
great seeing your growth and where you've come from.
Thank you.
And your mama did a good job.
You hear that, Mom?
Thank you.
I want to say thank you to Dr. Loury for coming in today. And you can check us out our Spotlight series on YouTube and also on social media with OBME, PHL, Facebook, and Instagram. Have a blessed day.